Good morning, everyone. My name is Bhatia, and today, the very important topic, Mahatma Gandhi, we are going to discuss in this class. Earlier, we have studied Revolt of 1857, and that was also very important for all of you. Revolt of 1857 revolt. And we have studied a lot of things done by Britishers while they were ruling in India from 1600 to 1947. In 1947, they have left India and they had gone to their Britain. And the most important things, what they have done, they had done in India. The so many bad things and so many just like they wanted to fulfill their greed when they entered into India. And they wanted to trade between India and the Britain, and they had extracted a lot of money and extracted a lot of things from India, and they had sent to Britain just because of the fulfillment of their greed. They were very greedy and they wanted a lot of things from India, and they wanted to send them into Britain because they wanted to make benefits in their Britain, not in India. Because India was not their country, and India was the country a lot of assignments and a lot of things they had done into India, good things and bad things, and a lot of things. And the condition of peasants, which we have studied earlier, because I am recalling our earlier matter, just to correlate of this topic in Mahatma Gandhi. The condition of peasants was very bad at that time. They had got exploited from British, and they had done a lot of things which were disturbed Indians at that time. And correlation with Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi, 2nd October, the birth of Mahatma Gandhi, 2nd October, 1869. And the death, 30th January, 1948, after the partition. Uh, Between these years, he had done a lot of things into India just to just for the welfare of India at that time. As you all have heard about Mahatma Gandhi, our father of nation, we have learned a lot of things from Mahatma Gandhi. The the priest of truth, non-violence, Hindu Swaraj, a lot of things he had done into India. And first of all, when we are going to study about the politics and the history, then we need to know about the Gandhian theory to understand Indian economy, Indian socialism, and Indian polity. In the initial stage of his entry into Indian politics, Gandhi tried to understand Indian politics, social, economic reality, and applied new forms of struggle. During his stay in South Africa, Gandhi fought against racial discrimination, which denied to the Indian community human rights necessary for leading the city's civilized life. So he was experienced in the techniques of political mobilization. Next, when he entered into India in 1915, 9 January 1915, then his guru, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, had advised him to explore all India, all over the India, and to see the things what India was facing at that time. And Gandhi spent 1915 and most of 1916 touring India and visiting places as far as Sindh, Rangoon, Banaras, Madras. He also visited Rabindranath Tagore's Shanti Niketan, then the Kumbh Fair of Haridwar, and all this helped Gandhi in the better understanding of his countrymen, the condition of India. In 1915, Gandhi had set up an ashram at Ahmedabad on the bank of Sabarmati River. Here, Gandhi lived with his Here, Gandhi lived with his close associates who were being trained in the rigors of moral life, essential, essential for a satyagrahi. Next, we are going to start the Gandhian ideological tools and methods of mass mobilization. How they tackled with the Indians. And Gandhi was primarily a man of action, and his own experiences in life helped him more than his readings in evolving and shaping his ideology. Satyagraha. In fact, for Gandhi, Satyagraha was not merely a political tactic, but part of a total philosophy of life and the ideology of action. Gandhi believed that the search for truth was the goal of human life. Since no one could know the ultimate truth, one should never attack another's integrity or prevent another's search for truth. Have you watched Gandhi movie? No. Just it's I'm going to give you a homework that please watch, please watch Gandhi movie on YouTube. It is available on YouTube also. And if you will watch this movie, then you will come to know about the truth of life of Mahatma Gandhi. We should have a lot of information related Mahatma Gandhi. We should have. It's must for all of us. Non-violence. In practice, satyagraha could assume various forms: fasting, non-violent picketing, different types of non-cooperation, ultimately in politics, civil disobedience, in willing anticipation of the legal penalty. Gandhi firmly believed that all these forms of satyagraha were pure means to achieve pure ends, non-violence. If you want to achieve something, anything you want to achieve, then you will have to be entered in yourself non-violence. You should not violent for any person. Use of religious idioms. He was convinced that religion provided the fundamental basis for political action in India. Gandhi also used the religious idiom through concepts like Ram Rajya to mobilize people in the national movement. Next, idea of Hind Swaraj, how he had taken the idea of Hind Swaraj. Other important feature of Gandhian thought or the body of ideas which he illustrated in his book Hind Swaraj, written in 1907. Gandhi wrote, Indian salvation consists in unlearning what she has learnt during the past 50 years or so. The railways, the telegraphs, hospitals, lawyers, doctors, and such like have to go. And the so called upper classes have to learn to live consciously and religiously and deliberately the simple life of peasant. They should also see that things. Next is Swadeshi. Gandhi's plunge into Indian politics. How he entered into Indian politics and how he was doing the things in Indian politics. Gandhi's entry into Indian politics occurred in the 1917-1918 when he became involved in three local issues concerning the Champaran indigo farmers, Ahmedabad textile workers, and the Kheda peasants. Do you know, after completing his study in South Africa, when he entered into India, then a very warm welcome was given to Mahatma Gandhi, and he was invited in Banaras Hindu Vishwavidyalaya. Banaras Hindu University with a warm welcome and a lot of people. A lot of people means the very big rush of people they have entered into in Banaras Hindu University when Gandhi was entering in that with the warm welcome of Indians at that time because he had fought a lot of things in South Africa also. He fought with the differentiation between the blacks and whites in South Africa. And he won at that place in South Africa. because there was a lot of discrimination between white people and the black people. White people hated a lot to black peoples. When the black people raised their hand against white, and the Gandhi was with them. Mahatma Gandhi was with them, and he fought for the welfare of black people at that time. And with the help of Mahatma Gandhi, the government of South Africa had made law for the avoidance of the discrimination of blacks and whites, between blacks and whites, and the black people were very happy with the decision of this, and with the help of Mahatma Gandhi in South Africa. That was a very big event in the life of Mahatma Gandhi. And after that, the Indians have heard about the very famous thing which was done in South Africa, and the Indians have heard about this news. And he they enter they had decided that when Gandhi entered, when he had jumped himself in the national movement in 1915-16, then a very big events he faced in India, because which I told you earlier, Champaran indigo farmers, and the Ahmedabad textile workers, and the Kheda peasants. They invited Gandhiji for to solve the problems which they were facing at that time, like indigo farmers, indigo peasants, like textile workers in Ahmedabad. Just I am going to explain these three movements behind it. Next, Champaran's experiment in mass mobilization. What was doing in Champaran? Planters always force them to sell their crop for a fixed and usually uneconomic price. Means the price of the farmers' things was declining at that time. The prices were getting down at that time. And by this, the farmers were not happy. At this time, the demand of Indian indigo in the world market was declining due to the increasing production of synthetic indigo in Germany. Do you know what was indigo at that time? Indigo means the blue color dye which we are using in washing the clothes and white clothes. And you know very well the indigo. And the indigo plantation was in where, what was the place of that particular name? Champaran in Bihar. The most planters of Champaran realized that indigo cultivation was no longer a paying proposition. The planters tried to save their own position by forcing the tenants to bear the burden of their losses. They offered to release the tenants from growing indigo if the latter paid compensation or damages. Apart from this, the planters heavily inflated the rents and imposed many illegal levies on the tenants. When he have heard the a lot of grievances of the peasants of the peasants of Champaran, he reached Motihari. Motihari, the headquarters of the district of Champaran. He was served with an order to quit Champaran as he was regarded a danger to public peace. Gandhi decided to disobey the order at that time. Disobey the order at that time, because he wanted that if we obey the order, then what things they will be doing at that time. That's why he disobeyed the order to accept the revenue, to accept the market prices of the particular things. Yes, he decided to disobey the order. That's why the indigo farmers and indigo peasants were getting very happy at that time. Okay, Mahatma Gandhi had solved this situation at that time. Next is Kheda. In Kheda, what thing they were doing? Gandhi maintained that the officials had overvalued the crops, and the cultivators were entitled to a suspension of revenue as a legal right and not as a concession by grace. Okay, we were discussing about Gandhiji's movement, and he had fought for the Indian welfare, the welfare of India. and he had done a lot of things related to the welfare of India just when he entered into India in 1915-16, and he had done a lot of things to for the welfare of India because the situation, the condition of India was very bad at that time because Britishers had exploited a lot for the two Indians, and he was increasing the taxes, and he was increasing the revenue on the peasants' cultivation as they were burdened with the taxes at that time because he had fought the Kheda movement, and he had fought for the Khera movement and indigo planters. And third one is Ahmedabad textile workers, indigo peasants, Ahmedabad textile workers, and the Kheda peasants. And in Champaran, experiment of mass mobilization because the Britishers wanted for to getting down the prices of the production because he wanted the peasants were making down the. Again, we are going to start. Champaran experiment in mass mobilization, as planters always forced to sell them their crops for a fixed and usually uneconomic price because at this time the demand of indigo in the world market was declining due to the production of the increasing production of the synthetic indigo in Germany. The most planters at Champaran realized that indigo cultivation was no longer paying proposition. The planters tried to save their own position by forcing the tenants to bear the burden of their loss. They offered to release the tenants from growing indigo and if the latter paid compensation or damages. Apart from this, the planters heavily inflated the rents and the imposed many illegal levies on the tenants. When he reached Motihari, the headquarters of district of Champaran, he was served with an order to quit Champaran as he was regarded a danger to public peace. Gandhi decided to disobey the order at that time because when the people will not disobey the order of the Britishers, then they need to extend themselves again and again and again because if somebody will fulfill their desires, then their desires will be getting enhancing at that time. That's why Gandhi decided to disobey the order of the Britishers. And in Kheda, what was doing at that time? Gandhi maintained that the officials had overvalued the crops and the cultivators were entitled to a suspension of revenue as a legal right and not as a concession by grace. After a lot of hesitation, he decided to launch a Satyagraha movement on 22nd March 1918. He inaugurated at the Satyagraha at a meeting of Naded and argued the peasants not to pay the land revenue. He toured villages and gave moral support to peasants in refusing to pay revenue and to expel their fear of the government authority. Gandhi also assisted in this struggle by Indulal Yajnik, Vallabhbhai Patel, and Anusuya Sarabhai. The Satyagraha reached at its peak on 21st April when 2,337 peasants pledged not to pay revenue. Most the patedars took part in this Satyagraha. And in Ahmedabad, in 1917, plague outbreak made labor shortage. This was more acute because it drove many workers away from Ahmedabad to countryside. To dissuade the workers from leaving the town, the mill owners decided to pay plague bonus. Plague bonus, which was sometimes as high as 75% of normal wages of the workers. After the epidemic was over, the mill owners decided to discontinue the plague bonus, but the workers opposed the employers' move and argued that it was helping them to offset the wartime rise in cost of living. The mill owners were prepared to give 20% increase, but the workers were demanding a 50% raise in the wages in view of price hike. In such a situation, Gandhi decided to study the whole situation in detail. He went through a mass of data concerning and financial state of mills and compared their wage rates with those of Bombay. Finally, he came to the conclusion that the workers should demand 35% instead of 50% increase in their wages, and Gandhi began the Satyagraha movement against the mill owners. Gandhi announced on 15 March that he would undertake a fast until a settlement was reached. He was undertaken fast at that time. A settlement was reached on 18 March. According to this agreement, the workers on their first day would receive 35% raise in keeping with their pledge. On the second day, when they came, they would get 20% increase offered by mill owners. From the third day until the date of an award by an arbitrator, they would split the difference and receive 27.5% increase. Finally, the arbitrator's award went in favor of their workers and 35% raise was given to them. The next movement was Rowlatt Act Satyagraha with the Gandhiji. The bill also proposed to give authority. Which bill? The Rowlatt Bill. The bill also proposed to give authority to the government to search a place and arrest a person without any warrant. Detention without a trial for maximum period of 2 years was also provided in the bills. The bills was regarded by nationalist leaders as an effort to conciliate a section of official and non-official white opinion which had resented Montagu Chelmsford reform proposals. There was widespread condemnation of the bills in the whole country. Gandhi launched his campaign against the bills. He formed a Satyagraha Sabha on 24th February 1919 in Bombay to protest against the Rowlatt Bills. Its members signed a pledge proclaiming their determination to disobey these laws. A countrywide sorry, a countrywide agitation was planned for April 6, 1919. In almost all major towns of the country, the Hartals was observed on the 6th April and the people respond enthusiastically. Gandhi left Bombay on 8 April to promote the Satyagraha agitation in Delhi and Punjab, but as his entry in Punjab was considered dangerous by the government, Gandhi was removed from the train in which he was traveling at Palwal near Delhi and was taken back to Bombay. The news of Gandhi's arrest participated the crisis. The situation became tense in Bombay and violence broke out in Ahmedabad and Virangam. In Ahmedabad, the government enforced martial law. The Punjab region was as a whole and Amritsar in particular witnessed the worst scenes of violence. In Amritsar, the news of Gandhi's arrest coincided with the arrest of two local leaders. The name was Dr. Kichlu and Dr. Satyapal on 10th April. This led to mob violence and government buildings were set on fire. 5 Englishmen were murdered and women assaulted. The civil authority lost its control of the city. On 13th April, General Dyer ordered his troops to fire on a peaceful, unarmed crowd assembled at Jallianwala Bagh. Most of the people were not aware of the ban on meetings, and they were shot without the slightest warning by General Dyer, who later on said that it was no longer a question of merely dispersing the crowd, but one of producing a moral effect. According to official figures, 379 persons were killed, but the unofficial accounts gave much higher figures. Next is non-cooperation movement. Earlier, we have studied about Jallianwala Bagh massacre. This is not Jallianwala Bagh massacre. And before that, the two leaders, local leaders, were arrested, Dr. Kichlu and Dr. Satyapal. Gandhi wanted to fight with the help of non-violence, and non-violence was the biggest weapon in the hands of Mahatma Gandhi at that time. Okay, next is non-cooperation movement (NCM). During 1920, 1921, the national Indian national movement entered into a new phase. It's like a phase of mass politics and mass mobilization. The British rule was opposed through two mass movement, which were Khilafat movement and non-cooperation movement. And what was in Khilafat movement? Khilafat movement timing was 1918 and 1919, when the First World War was getting down at that time, and the finished of First World War. During the First World War, Turkey allied with Germany and Austria against the British. Turkey allied with Germany and Austria against with British. The Indian Muslims regarded the Sultan of Turkey as their spiritual leader known as Khalifa. So their sympathies were naturally with Turkey. After the war, the British removed the Khalifa from power in Turkey. Hence, the Muslims started the Khilafat movement in India for the restoration of the Khalifa's position. Their main demands were Khalifa's control should be retained over the Muslim sacred places. And in territorial adjustments after the war, the Khalifa should be left with sufficient territories. These two main demands were there at that time. Khalifa's control should be retained over the Muslim sacred places. Mhm. And in territorial adjustments, when they are adjusting their territories after the war, the Khalifa should be left with sufficient territories. These two demands were getting coming. The Central Khilafat Committee met at Allahabad from 1st to 3rd January 1920. The meeting was attended by a number of Congress and Khilafat leaders. In this meeting, a program of non-cooperation towards the government was declared. This was to include what was boycott of titles conferred by the government. Boycott of titles, which was conferred by the government. Next is the boycott of civil services, army, police, all government jobs. And next is no payment of taxes to the government. Means, what was the meaning of this? Non-cooperation movements. Means when the Indians were not cooperating with the British government. They did not want to pay the taxes to the British government, no tax, and they boycotted of civil services, army, police, all government jobs, etc. And they boycott of the titles conferred by the government, given by the government to the Indians, just like the Tagore title to Ravindranath Tagore, knighthood title, which was given to Ravindranath Tagore, and the Mahatma title that was given to Gandhiji by the Britishers. August 1st, 1920 was fixed as the date to start the movement. Gandhi insisted that unless the Punjab and Khilafat wrongs were done there was to be non-cooperation with the government. However, for the success of this payment, Congress support was essential. Main points of non-cooperation movement were the nationalization of education, next is the promotion of indigenous goods, next is the popularization of charkha and khadi, next is enrollment of volunteer crops, and next boycott of law courts, educational institutions, official functions, and the British goods boycott. Next is boycott of law courts, and next is the surrender of honors and titles conferred by the British to Indians. They all things they wanted to do in their non-cooperation movement, and they wanted to disturb the British government to do all the things which they were doing at that time into India. And the British government wanted only tax to Indians, and the Indians did not want to give the taxes to the British government because this was the only reason why Britishers entered into India for trade, and the Indians did not want to fulfill their desires, did not want to fulfill their greeds and all desires of the British government at that time. That's why Mahatma Gandhi had decided to not to pay to British government at the time when they wanted for the taxes. Next, which was the very big organization for Indians at that time? Indian National Congress. Congress volunteers were fired at by the police at Chori Chora in Gorakhpur district in UP in retaliation of the infuriated mob killed 21 policemen. This violent incident shocked Gandhi because 10 to 20, 21 policemen were there in the police station at that time in Chori Chora in Gorakhpur district in UP, and they were gathered over there, and the mob of Indians, the Congress volunteers were getting locked themselves into police station, locked themselves locked the policemen in the police station, and the fire to that particular police station. And after firing, the all 21 policemen had got died at that time. When Gandhiji heard about this news, then at that time, suddenly he suspended the non-cooperation movement. He also postponed the proposed civil disobedience movement at Bardoli. Postponed. Many congressmen were shocked and surprised by Gandhi's decision. The same day, Gandhi started his 5-day fast as a penance. That's why the first non cooperation virtually came to an end. Gandhi was arrested on 10 March 1922 and was sentenced to 6 years imprisonment. The civil disobedience movement was launched when Gandhiji, along with a group of chosen volunteers, began the Dandi March to break the salt law. Have you heard about the salt law? Because the Britishers had extended the prices of salt, that much extension of prices of the salt that create the situation when it's done. The civil disobedience movement (CDM) was launched when Gandhi, along with a group of chosen volunteers, began the Dandi March to break the salt law. Following him, people all over the country broke salt laws and courted arrests. Besides breaking the salt laws, no tax, no revenue campaigns were also launched in certain areas. There was also defiance of the forest laws, which prohibited the use of forests by the locals. Noticing the gravity of the situation, the British government called a round table conference and invited the Congress for talk. Gandhiji represented the Congress and the movement was temporarily withdrawn to facilitate the talk. However, the talk proved to be failure due to divisive policies of colonial rulers. They did not talk on that particular roundtable conference, first roundtable conference with Gandhiji. Gandhi's efforts to gain concessions means Gandhi wanted to gain concessions for the Indians in Indian agriculture, in the products, on in all so many things, etc. The most important demands. What were the most important demands at that time? Number one, the rupee sterling ratio should reduced to S4D. Next is land revenue should be reduced by half and made a subject of legislative control. Next is salt tax should be abolished and also the government monopoly over manufacturing the salt. Next is the salary of highest grade services should be reduced by half. Next is military expenditures should be reduced by 50% begin with. And next is protection for Indian textile and coastal shipping. And next is all political prisoners should be discharged. To many observers, this charter of demands seemed a climb down from Purna Swaraj, means ups and down of Purna Swaraj. The government response to Gandhiji's proposal was negative at that time. It was negative. Beginning of the movement, Gandhi took the decision to start the movement. Which movement? Civil disobedience movement. On 12 March 1930, Gandhi started the historic march from his Sabarmati ashram to Dandi beach. The name of the beach particular was Dandi, from Sabarmati ashram to Dandi beach, accompanied by his 78 selected followers. There, Gandhi and his followers broke the law by manufacturing salt from the sea. They have taken the salt from the sea and they all make their own salt on the proper beach of the Dandi. The program of movement was as follows. What was the program movement? Number one, salt law should be violated everywhere. It should not be given to the British government. Next is students should have colleges, should leave colleges, and government servants should resign from services. And next is foreign clothes should be burnt. Next is no taxes should be paid to the government. Again, repeated. And next is women should stage a dharna at liquor shops. Women should stage a dharna at liquor shops, etc. These were the demands which was given by the Indians in front of British government. Next is Gandhi Even Pact Roundtable Conference and second phase Gandhi entry into second roundtable conference also proved a virtual fiasco. Here we have done a lot of things related to Gandhiji and we have done very important things. We have discussed a lot very important things related to Gandhiji and after this class we will continue the same topic from Gandhi's efforts from the background of Quit India movement, the second roundtable conference, and the Quit India movements, and what was the impacts of Gandhiji on India's politics, India's history, etc. We will cover this in our next class. And now we are going to recall our topics. Just we have discussed like what was the Gandhiji's efforts to gain concessions for the Indians, because Gandhiji did not want to give the land revenue, excess land revenue to the British government. He wanted to give the concessions to the Indians just to produce Indian business, Indian trade for the welfare of India. But Britishers did not want this. But Britishers did not like this, and they did not want that India will get better things in the future. He wanted to do the things for the welfare of British government, for the Britain, for the welfare of Britain, England, and all. the all things they were doing. The salaries were very big for the Britishers, was very high for the Britishers, and was very the salaries were very low for the Indians at that time. That's why Gandhiji had got ruined the things and had got the things very changed at that time. And we have done a lot of things related to civil disobedience movement, which was launched by Gandhiji. And in 1921-22, Khilafat movement and Gandhiji, the two head brother of Khilafat movement was Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali. They fought for the welfare of Turkey. Turkey's Khalifa, because the very religious post of Khalifa that was very respected for the Muslims at that time, and so many Muslims were living in India at that time. And Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, they started this movement for the welfare of Turkey, because the Britishers had uh, suspended some Turkey area, and they have gained their control on the Turkey, and they have given the cheat to the Turkey. That's why the Turkey, their Khalifas had lost their power, and Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, they meet to Gandhiji, and they decided to do something related to for the welfare of Turkey's Khalifa at that time. This was done with the Khilafat movement, and what was things they were doing in civil disobedience movement, civil non-cooperation movement. They did not wanted to cooperate with the British government. They did not want to give the tax to the British government. So we are going to end this class, and we will continue this topic in our next class. Thank you and have a nice day.